Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio. So today, we need to ask the very real question, the very relevant question, is Palkia VSTAR too good? Now, the thing is, this came out in Astro Radiance, and anyone who's been paying any attention to the whole Astro Radiance format will know that this is the hyped deck. This is the deck that is coming around and making everyone go, oh man, that looks good. It's a big new hype deck. And the thing is, we all tend to overrate the big new hype deck just a little bit, and we all seem to think that it's a little bit better than it really is. That's not to say that it's bad, but the new deck on the block, it's always one where we go, oh mate, this is going to be it. This is going to be the game changer. And they're often good, but they're not usually quite as good as we think. And the reason this is relevant is because we just had our first regional in the Astro Radiance format with Astro Radiance Legal. It happened down in Melbourne. It was won by Christian Hasbani. And if we look at this image from PokeStats, something should jump out quite a lot. The entire top 8 of Melbourne regionals was Palkia. Also, shout out to PokeStats. They are amazing. If you are interested even a little bit in competitive Pokemon, you need to be following PokeStats. Those dudes are amazing. But the thing is here, we see, there's big players there. Henry Brand, I think still defending world champion. Christian Hasbani's well known. Brent Tonneson, Carmen Kababe. These are players you've probably heard of before. Some of the best players in the world. And they're all playing Palkia. They are literally all playing Palkia. Which I think then makes us go, all right then. So, is it really that good? And the answer is, it might be, but hold your horses just a little bit. Now, to quickly go over Palkia and, what the deck is for those that may be unfamiliar or those that want a reminder, it is really all based around Origin Form Palkia. It's got an attack for 2 energy that does 60 damage, plus 20 more for each bench Pokemon, yours and your opponent's. And that adds up very, very quickly. You only need your opponent to bench 3 Pokemon, assuming you've got a full bench. And then you're hitting 220, which is the magic number to KO Pokemon V. This adds up very, very quickly. Plus, it just works so amazingly well with that new Radiant Greninja. Radiant Greninja's got that really lovely ability, lets you discard an energy card and draw 2 cards, or an attack for free energy that lets you discard 2 and do 90 to 2 of your opponent's Pokemon, which is a bit nuts. And of course, you got the V-Star power on Origin Form Palkia Star Portal, lets you attach free water energy from your discard pile to your water Pokemon in any way you like, and seriously, the combo of that with your Greninja here is absolutely phenomenal. It means it actually genuinely works, which is honestly a bit ridiculous, and I did not quite see that coming. Plus, nowadays we see it played with, other stuff. I mean, we even see it played with Ice Cube from Evolving Skies, because it prevents all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from basic Pokemon. That is largely a counter to Regigigas, which is a deck we're going to be talking about in just a moment. So yeah, this is really good. Some decks do play it with the Inteleon engine. Some decks prefer to play it with, for instance, Mew from Celebrations. There are other ways to play it, and I should give a shout out to the Starmie V, the new one, because that can just punish your opponent for attaching energy. It really is a very, very, very nice deck indeed. The question is, and this was a question, we came into the video asking, is it too good? Is it problematically good, or is it just really good? Because on the one hand, we can look at this and go, yeah, actually, you know what, you've got a point. This did take down all the top 8 spots. But then again, this kind of stuff does tend to happen at Australian regionals, and I can prove it. You see, over at Perth regionals back in May, we saw that actually, if you look at the top 8, we've got 4 Arceus Beedrill, 2 Arceus Inteleon, and then you got a Malamar and a Mew. At the time, the big hyped deck was Arceus with Beedrill, and you'll notice that Arceus with Beedrill did take up 4 of the top 8 spots. Maybe more instructive and a little bit jarring, the first regional, when we came back from the whole, hey, we haven't had any Pokemon in a little bit of a while, the first regional we had back was Brisbane Regionals, and that was just after the release of Fusion Strike, and 4 of the top 8 were Mew V Max. And that made us think, well, hang on a second, is Mew too good? And the answer was no. Mew was a very good deck, don't get me wrong, but Mew, after Brisbane Regionals, did not have quite the results we were maybe expecting. We thought Mew was amazing after Brisbane Regionals, and then we got to Salt Lake City and it didn't take a single top 8. Now, let's be clear, I am not for a second actually suggesting that Palkia's not going to take a single top 8 when we get to Wisconsin this weekend. I'm not saying that for a second, just so we're clear. But I am saying there's been a recent history of Australian regionals really overrepresenting the new deck, the best deck, call it what you will, and then it having a little bit of a fall off in subsequent tournaments. That is something we need to bear in mind. And while we're talking about super helpful people on the internet, Justin Basil is a lovely person who, and do go and follow them, it's just Justin Basil TCG, and what they do is they go and basically calculate up the online tournament results to see what the best decks are, and you will notice that in Tier 1 they've got Mew V Max with 17%, and Origin Form Palkia with 23%. That is pretty impressive. That is kind of relevant. And actually, the gap is growing a little bit. Now, to put that into a little bit of context, we could go back, just about a week, and we can see the top archetypes. This is before we were bringing in Palkia. And you notice that Mew is number 1 with 18, which is, I think it's fair to say, a fair bit lower. But hey, Wassy, wasn't there a giant tournament over in Japan this weekend? Couldn't we look at their results? Well, that was a weird one, because in juniors, the winner was Palkia. In seniors, the winner was Palkia, and the final was actually a Palkia mirror match. And though Palkia made the final of the Masters Division, it was actually beaten out in the final, and I am absolutely over the top delighted about this, by Regigigas. And one of the reasons Regigigas has such a good matchup is because Regigigas can absolutely take advantage of the Regieleki from Evolving Skies. One more apology, when I did my video about that Regi deck, I mentioned both Regielekis, but I really focused in on the wrong one. It is the one from Evolving Skies, which is the one we really want to focus in on here. Gets a straight KO on the V, and with a choice bout, gets a KO on the V-Star, and you are good. And it also does 40 to your opponent's bench. And incidentally, once you've hit a Palkia on the bench with Terra Spark, it's then got 240 HP remaining, which is the perfect amount of HP to KO it without using a choice belt. And of course, Regigigas has got the ability that just gets all your energy back. Regigigas has a very good Palkia matchup. But then again, a moment ago, I told you that Palkia was bringing in that Ice Cube, also from Evolving Skies. And as soon as you attack with Ice Cube, your opponent can't attack Ice Cube with basic Pokemon, and Regigigas only plays basic Pokemon. Now, there is a way around it, but it's a little bit awkward. Basically, in order for Regigigas to KO Ice Cube, they have to get it to the bench and then bring it back active. Now, one option you do have is potentially gusting something up, and then using the other Regieleki, the one that came around in Astro Radiance, because that one can do 120 to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So what you can do is gust something into the active and then KO Ice Cube on the bench, because it loses its protection when it goes to the bench. And then you can do that with the Regieleki from Astro Radiance. As a side note, we did see that the winning list over in Japan did not play any of the Astro Radiance Regieleki. I think you kind of have to moving forward, because Palkia with its VSTAR power, Star Portal, you can instantly just bench your basic Ice Cube, immediately Star Portal the energy on, and then just shut down the Regi deck entirely. And the only real way around that is to Gust and then KO it on the bench with Regieleki. And this is going to be an interesting thing moving forward, because on the one hand, Regigigas looks like it is a great deck that can take down Palkia. On the other hand, Palkia does have Ice Cube, but on the other hand, assuming you've got free hands, Regigigas, there are ways around it. You've just got to be prepared. Like most decks, to be honest with you. Very few decks are unbeatable. And if we go back to Justin Basil for just a moment, you will notice that on the most recent list here, Regigigas only made up 4% and is listed as a tier 3 deck. The tiers here, they are not necessarily, opinion-wise. It is looking at the data and the amount of them that were, played and doing well and all of that. My point is, Regigigas might be an answer. Is Palkia VSTAR too good? Forgive me for the cop-out answer. It's a little bit too early. The fact of the matter is, it just took every spot in the top 8 at the recent regionals, the only one we've had since Astro Radiance came around. And it just took 2 of the 3 age groups at the Giant Tournament in Japan. And honestly, it made the final in the other. We are at the stage now where we do legitimately have to ask the question, is Palkia VSTAR too good? The good news is we've got a regionals over in Wisconsin this weekend, and then we got North American Internationals coming up very shortly indeed. So we are going to know sooner rather than later if it is a problem. Maybe Regigigas is the answer and that will stop Palkia being too good, or maybe we're heading into a format where Palkia is going to wreck. Either way, it's going to be fun finding out. But I want to know what you think, ladies and gentlemen, so let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.